What's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, also known as That TCG Guy, and welcome back to another installment of BREW-BRG, where I hang out with my content creator friends or just friends, and we build decks live on stream for you, and then post this video usually the Friday after we do that, most of the time. Anyway, today I am joined by my good friend Tracy, also known as the Other Tracy, on the interwebs. I'm going to post all of their links down in the description below, so make sure you go and give them a follow, all that good stuff. And so this was a super fun one. We went and built Wyll, Blade Frontiers, and Master Chef. So a Gruul pairing, similar to what Donnie and I did with a Gruul pairing between a creature and a background. We're doing another one here for you today, but I gotta say really quick that I've really enjoyed doing these because I've gotten to pick up on some cool nuanced ways of deck building that I never really thought of before, and getting to see how my friends build their decks and kind of weaseling into their minds and getting to see the process that they do has been really incredible, if nothing else. So I was really excited about this one because I picked up some things from Tracy and the way that they build decks, and I think definitely going forward I'm going to be using some of these strategies, and I think we talk about them in the episode. I'm not sure, but if we do, hopefully you also will get some cool ideas. But if not there, you can always come and hang out during the live streams every Sunday night, 10 p.m., twitch.tv/thattcgguy. I'll either be building decks myself or building decks with my friends. It's super fun. Come and hang out. You can be part of the discussion. You can jump into voice chat with us. You can give us recommendations in chat, whatever you want to do. It's really fun and it's really interactive, and I've really been enjoying them. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the episode, and let's see how we built Wyll and Master Chef. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to BREW-BRG. I'm joined here by my good buddy Tracy. Hello, how you doing, Tracy?
I'm well. How are you?
Great. All right, so Tracy, please feel free to introduce yourself. So similar to what we did in the stream, we're going to redo it a third time.
Hey, fantastic.
Feel free to introduce yourself. Let everyone know who is watching, who you are, and what you do in the Magic community, and anything you want to promote or things like that. So people can go ahead and follow you.
Awesome. I am the Other Tracy. You can find me online anywhere that handles exist that matter under that name. I am a tabletop role-playing game designer and a Magic content creator. I have a show called Holding Priority on the One Shot Podcast Network. It does a few different things. We stream EDH every Monday night, twitch.tv/OneShotRPG. And then I also have a YouTube series called The Mountain Goats Meets Magic the Gathering, where I make Magic decks, specifically Commander decks, based on Mountain Goat songs. So my take on EDH is much more narrative in nature. It sort of lines up with the way that I design tabletop role-playing games, and is a fun way for me to do designery stuff without having to, write and market and sell a game.
Well, that's really cool. Today we built a Commander deck together on stream. You can check that out, twitch.tv/thattcgguy. Every Sunday night, 10 p.m. I hang out with one of my friends, and we build a Commander deck live for you on stream, where you can interact and come and hang out, and you can help us with the deck build. I would say, a good portion of the cards that we put in here usually come from people in chat. So if that's something you're interested in, every Sunday, 10 p.m., you can hang out, check it out, and build decks with us. And today, first of all, what did we build today, Tracy? I'll let you explain the commanders, and then we'll get into the first question.
So I dipped into Commander Legend Battle for Baldur's Gate, and I chose Wyll, Blade of Frontiers, with the background Master Chef. Wyll is all about dice rolling. He basically does what Barbarian class does. If you roll one or more dice, you roll that many +1, ignore the lowest, and then whenever you roll one or more dice, put a +1/+1 counter on Wyll himself. And then Master Chef makes your commanders enter with a +1/+1 counter, and any creatures you control enter with a +1/+1 counter. I chose this pairing because Gruul is kind of it's a weaker area of mine, not because I don't have an affinity for swinging out with either big creatures or a lot of creatures, because that's my preferred way to play Magic. But green tends to be a little bit too easy feeling for me. When you look at the deck list, you'll see that there are probably cards that a lot of people would cut to put in more card draw or more ramp or more mana rocks. That's just not the way that I tend to play. We mentioned this on stream. I don't know if that's because I play with a lot of streamers and there tends to be a lot of lifting each other up because we're all making good content, and so I don't really have to worry about a deck not doing its thing. But even when I play with my decks, still work and do well and do fine, and I run by that same ethos. I want my decks to do the thing that they do, which means I don't necessarily put a lot of the other stapley things in there, and green is full of a lot of staples that make your game a lot easier. That's what Gruul is, right? Gruul is, go smash. And so I think we did a little bit of that, at least with this deck.
Yeah, lots of good, fun Gruul stuff in this, which is really cool. So what is the deck trying to? Well, first of all, we'll talk about what the deck is trying to do, and then we'll talk about how the deck is trying to win. So we said is dice rolly stuff. Master Chef is +1/+1 counters. So are those the two? Like, are we just kind of in that wheelhouse of dice rolling and +1/+1 counters? Like, what is the deck trying to do?
We are very much in that wheelhouse, right? So a lot of the cards that are in this deck are first and foremost, even when building it, we started with dice rolling, right? I went through and looked for cards that had D20 or D8 or D6 or D4 in the Oracle text, and dropped a bunch of those in there, because Wyll automatically makes those cards better. When you get to, essentially in Dungeons and Dragons terms, roll with advantage, right? Roll an extra die and keep the better of the two, then you have a shot to hit some of the be extremely powerful and a lot of fun. They also don't always get threat assessed properly at a table, so you can potentially get away with some stuff because people don't quite know what to do when you're rolling a bunch of dice. They may get scared and target you first. That's always a risk.
Yep.
But you also may get away with some stuff until that happens. The other side of this is +1/+1 counters. So Master Chef automatically means that your creatures enter with extra +1/+1 counters as long as your commander's in play. So it's a two-part thing to have that happen. But again, all these creatures are better with +1/+1 counters on them.
Yep.
So we have some other cards that add more counters or do special things because the creatures are modified. So those are the angles we kind of hit, right? We want to roll a bunch of dice and do the fancy things that those cards can do, while also just putting a bunch of counters on stuff and swinging out both wide and tall.
Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing you mentioned earlier about, like, people seeing you roll dice that could either make them target you or, be a little bit standoffish. I think the thing that I really liked about seeing this deck come together is that I don't think that there's anything in here, say for maybe the big fancy dragons, that, like, me as a player, if I saw, maybe Delina's pretty scary, but
Vorinclex is kind of hits that button for some people.
Okay, let's say there's like 5 cards that are really scary, but there's not a ton.
Few things.
There's not a ton in here that I would see and immediately be like, I need to kill Tracy. Like, this is gonna get out of hand. Like, obviously I'm gonna keep an eye on it, but this just looks like you're doing fun dice roll +1/+1 synergies. I'm not seeing this and being like, oh man, like Tracy's gonna blow everything up and go crazy, which you very well may. But it definitely, to me, this comes off as a fun to play deck and a fun to play against deck. Like, I would enjoy sitting across from this and seeing it do its thing.
Yeah, that's exactly the ethos. Other than like wanting like a narrative experience for my decks, like that's what I want when I make decks. Winning is fun. I enjoy winning. It's not like I'm not trying to win, but I also don't want to just drop down the biggest, highest powered cards and present a threat early on and get hated out of a casual game because I went too big too fast. So my decks tend to have a slower burn. They come from slightly different angles to get where they're going to go. And if I can fly under the radar for a little while, then suddenly, before you know it, like say I drop a Vorinclex on turn 6 and do some things, and suddenly my stuff all has haste and is really big because there's extra counters, and my board that looked manageable is a big threat. And that's the kind of stuff that I like to do.
Definitely, and I can see that. I can totally see that happening with this deck, which is cool. Awesome. So you mentioned, winning earlier. Obviously, we're trying to win, but maybe don't necessarily need to win. But how does this deck win? How are you coming out and destroying everybody and clinching a W? How is this deck winning?
I have 3 words for you: combat damage.
Big punchies.
Yes.
as Alan would say, big punchies.
Yeah, definitely. It was also I spoiled my own joke because I meant to say 4 words because that's how many syllables there were. So you can tell I'm great at math and also be great at running this deck. Math's for blockers anyway.
Exactly.
So this deck is all about combat damage, right? There are a few mass hasted. There is Goblin War Drums, which is one of my pet cards. We're not in that section yet, but I almost always put it in every red deck that I run because it just gives everything menace, which is another factor to think about, and people don't necessarily think about that coming from a red card because it's old. Like menace is a very black thing these days. Basically, yeah, I want those ETB effects. I want to get counters on things. I want to swing out and swing out big, and do that with a variety of creatures, including some token creatures that can be generated through a few of these different cards that are in here. Things like
Vrondis.
Yeah, Vrondis is great for that. Clowncar is great for that. Clowncar is actually in my list of sort of signature cards for this deck.
Nice.
Too. So yeah, Adelina makes copies of things, right? You're getting it's a lot of little stuff. Life of the Party is in there for that reason too, because it also makes everyone else distracted because now they're worrying about having to swing out with with this thing and you're not going to get hit by it.
Yep.
So yeah, no, there's just again little oblique angles on things.
Yeah.
Like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Definitely. And a lot of those token generators all rely on dice rolling, which is good for what the deck wants to do.
That's right.
Very cool. I love it. All right. So you mentioned pet cards. The final question here of the deck tech is, if you had to pick, let's say 3 to 5 cards that are either your pet cards in here, cards that you think, need to be in here, or, just cards that you think are good overall in the synergy, what 3 to 5 cards are you picking?
So the first 2 kind of work together, and they do similar things that work very, very well as a kind of a partner. This would be a good partnership for the next lineup of cards from March of the Machine, but I think the goro-goro already has a partner.
It does.
But it's goro-goro, Disciple of Ryusei, because you can just pay 1 red and give everything haste. And then you also have the option, if you're attacking with a modified creature, just to make a 5/5 dragon. Like, that's always handy.
Yep.
And then Kodama of the West Tree, because modified creatures you control have trample. So if you get just a few tokens on some of the stuff, even the 1/1s that will come from this next card that I'm going to mention, like, you can give them haste and give them trample just automatically, just really easy. It's a 2-drop and a 3-drop, and suddenly you're beefing up your entire board. So those 2 are very excellent cards to have in this deck. Goro-Goro is kind of optional, but I like him. Kodama of the West Tree needs to be in this deck, I think.
Yeah, with all the +1/+1 counters, it makes total sense.
Absolutely. I mentioned this other card before, but Clowncar is a lot of fun. It's from Unfinity. It's a 1/1 vehicle for X. When it enters the battlefield, you roll X 6-sided dice, which if you've got Wyll on the table, you're rolling X +1 and keeping the best, so you'll eliminate the lowest result. Same thing with Barbarian class. For each odd result, you create a 1/1 clown robot, and for each even result, you put a +1/+1 counter on Clowncar itself. It's a way to generate some tokens kind of out of nowhere with as much mana as you happen to have spare to do it. So you get some bodies and you get a big vehicle that can very easily be crewed because it has crew 2. So nearly anything that you're casting in this deck should be able to crew it
take care of it.
very, very, very easily. Next is Wand of Wonder, which is a favorite artifact of mine.
Yep.
Pay 4, tap it, roll a d20. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery. Then they shuffle the rest in. So you can cast up to X instant or sorcery spells from among those exiled without paying their mana costs, which means it is an off-turn effect. If you do this at the end of someone's turn, you can cast the sorceries even though all this is happening at instant speed.
Yep.
If you roll a 1 to 9, X is 1, 10 to 19, X is 2, or if you roll 20, X is 3. So with the dice advantage cards we have in here, you're almost guaranteed to be able to cast 2 of them for free. And Gruul tends to be very linear in terms of what its instants of sorceries can do, right? We're destroying things for the most part. Maybe we're putting counters on some stuff. We're getting impulsive draw, that kind of thing. If you're playing against an Esper deck, or an Esper deck and an Azorius deck and a Selesnya deck, then suddenly you've got all kinds of options available to you.
Now you're almost playing a four color deck, or
yeah. A four color deck, and for 4 mana you can be casting some really, really big spells for free. I had an effect like this similar to this in a game that you and I played on your stream recently, where I got to cast oh god, what's the name of the card? It's the one that made me the 7979
Body of Research
fractal body. I got to cast somebody else's Body of Research. I paid for it. No, I got to cast it. I could spend mana of any color. I paid 1 for it.
Paid 1 mana for it.
Similar.
And then you, at the very end of the game, you got a nat 20 and you cast all of them for free.
Yeah. It was fantastic. And it's just a really good feeling, and it's kind of emblematic of what the dice in this deck are supposed to do. And this card works really, really well with the last card on my list, which is a pet card of mine that I will put into every green deck that I possibly can. It's Weather the Storm. Weather the Storm is 1 and a green. It simply says gain 3 life, Storm. So you get to copy that spell for every other spell that has been cast this turn. So say you get Wand of Wonder and you hit 3 on your own, let alone anything else that has happened in the previous turn. On your own, you're gaining 12 life. If you if there's a big interaction, a big kerfuffle during someone else's combat phase, and there were 6 other spells cast among all 3 players in your pod, then 6 and then your own 4, that's what, 24 life? It's one of those things that when you want it, you really want it, because it's an easy way to gain a lot of life and give yourself a buffer if the game has been getting hot and heavy and your life total is getting down low. You can easily reset back to starting life or close to it if you play Weather the Storm at the right time.
And for me, I always forget that Storm works for every spell cast, not just your own. I'm not a big Storm player. I've never really played it much in other formats, so I always forget that until someone says it's for every fucking spell, not just yours. So
absolutely. And
it's crazy.
I just casually start keeping track if I've got that in my hand, and I go, oh, we've gotten to 6, have we? Cool. I'd 21 life, please.
In response, here you go.
In response to the last spell that was cast, or on your end step, I'm casting Weather the Storm.
I'll go from 4 life to 34 life. Thank you very much.
I feel much better. How are you?
How are you? Yeah, that's definitely, that's not a card that's ever been on my radar till now. So I'll be taking a look at that. Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, so that's the deck, and those are the cards. Very
cool. This is definitely one of the cooler decks I've seen built in a while. And like I said this during the stream. This looks like a ton of fun. I said it earlier too. This looks like a ton of fun. It looks like a lot of fun to play. It looks like a lot of fun to play against. And I really enjoy. And I said this during the stream too, but I just want to make sure that it's known on the video as well. I really enjoyed seeing your breakdown of how you build decks, and the going from the dice rolling theme into the +1/+1 theme into almost having 100 cards, and then how you broke down the what you were removing by going through each card, which is really cool. I'm taking Frankensteining bits and pieces of how other people build decks and adding them to my method now too, which is cool. So that was a really cool way to see a deck built. So
that's awesome. That's actually, it's a really interesting contrast, right? Because in tabletop role-playing games, a lot of people take a lot of inspiration from the other games that they play, because game mechanics can't be copywritten, right? So you can file the serial numbers off and use someone else's technology in your game. Polite to give credit and all that good stuff, but you take a lot of inspiration from other designers, and I think shows like this, where you get to see how somebody else builds a deck that operates in a similar vein. And I think it's one of those things, especially for a format like Commander or now Oathbreaker since it's official, right? Seeing other people's mindsets when they come to building a deck is going to be really, really valuable.
Yeah.
To sort of round yourself out as a deck builder.
Definitely. And it's like I said, Frankensteining some of the pieces I'm seeing and adding them to the way that I kind of look at decks now has been really beneficial, and I'm excited to keep this train going. And I think I got a lot out of watching you build this deck, so I'm very grateful for that, and very grateful that you came and hung out and decided to do this with us tonight. So thank you so much, Tracy.
It was a blast.
All right, cool. Well, if you enjoyed this and you want to see this deck and see the pieces of it, you can click the Moxfield link down below. That'll be in the description. And if you want to be a part of the deck building process, like many of our friends were tonight, you can go to twitch.tv/thattcgguy. Every Sunday night at 10 p.m. we do these BREW-BRG streams. I'll be getting my April schedule put together starting tonight, which if you're watching this on the 31st, this is now the 26th. Hopefully that's all ironed out by this Friday, but we'll see. Who knows? I'm a very, very last minute person. But Tracy, thank you. I'm looking over to my right like you're actually here, but that's just the way the video is. The video
fantastic. And then I'll look over this way and we can look at each other.
There it is.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Tracy, once again, please feel free to let the people at home know who you are and what you do in the Magic community. And if you want to plug anything, I'm going to be putting all of Tracy's links down in the description of this video. So please, if you are not already, go and give them a follow. Check them out. Let them know where you came from by watching the video. And yeah, so Tracy, take it away. Let everyone know who you are.
Yeah, find me as the Other Tracy anywhere that handles exist, and tune in to Holding Priority on the One Shot Network Twitch channel, twitch.tv/oneshot One Shot RPG, One Shot Podcast. It's one of those two. You'll find it.
I'll put all the links down there. Don't worry.
You'll get it. No worries. Check out the Mountain Goats Meets Magic the Gathering on YouTube, and look for me on other folks' streams as well. I've been hopping around on other channels. I was on Corey's stream just a few days ago. Yep. Yeah, a few days ago as we record this. So, I'm out and about in the Magic world, and I am having a blast.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you, Tracy, for being here. I'm going to pass it back to myself for the outro. So thank you for watching this, and take it away, me, on a much larger screen. Boom, there you have it. That's the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And if you decide to build this deck, make sure you let us know in the comments below. If you would have put anything different in here, or if you wanted to see something different, also let us know down below. And if you want to see the deck in its full list, you can click on the Moxfield link. Not a sponsor. We're not sponsored by Moxfield, though. Moxfield, if you're out there and you're listening, I can continue to do these Moxfield tips and tricks videos. You know, we can work together. I'll treat you right. Whatever you need. But anyway, thank you for watching. As always, you can follow us on all the social medias down below. Click on all the links, and we're here every Sunday building these decks, every Friday posting these videos. I hope you enjoy them. And make sure you check me out on Patreon. I have 2 tiers there if you want to check those out. $1 tier gets you a thank you in every video, which you'll see at the end here. $5 gets you, if I print out a sticker or if I do a thing, I will send you those things. I swear I will. Maybe not in a timely manner, but I will get them to you, I promise. And it really helps support me and everything I do here. And it really does mean a lot to me, so thank you so much for that. And you can also use my Pinfinity affiliate code. If you like Pinfinity, they're awesome stuff. I met the guys over in Philly who run Pinfinity, and they're fucking awesome. They're the coolest dudes ever, and they really do put out an awesome product. And I really think if you're into like anything magic related, or like little trinkets or doodads, little things you can get your grubby little mitts on, I really recommend you check those out. You can use my code TCGguy at checkout for 20% off of your entire order, or you can just click my link down below. There's so many links. There's links to everything. There's links to other links, but you can click them and you get money off and you get cool stuff. Do that. All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.